Hi, welcome to the Talent L&K podcast in partnership with Lincoln HR. I'm Kaylie Hogan-Schnittker, Director of Talent Strategy at the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. We're going to talk all things workforce and podcasts on the Talent L&K podcast, and we're happy to have you join us. Today, we have some special guests in the AOI Podcast Studio. We have Christina Oldfather, Workforce Development Director at Rabble Mill, and Gap Year student Nicole. We'll dive in a little bit more on what Gap Year is, but Christina and Nicole, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yes. Well, I am excited to hear a little bit more about the work you all are doing at Rabble Mill, in particular the Gap Year program. So, Christina, I'll have a few questions for you first, and then Nicole, I definitely want to hear about your experience. So, Christina, tell us a little bit more about Gap Year. Maybe start with the parent of Gap Year, Rabble Mill.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rabble Mill is the nonprofit organization over a lot of things that happen within our organization. So we are a nonprofit that focus on youth and youth programming and really creating belonging and upward mobility for youth here in Nebraska. So we do that through a variety of program buckets. We have our youth programming, which is really focused on more like elementary age students, but kind of getting them into that pipeline and helping them create that sense of community and belonging, helping them dive into the things they love to do, like skateboarding, fashion, music. And we do that through summer camps. We have a lot of those going on right now. We do skate school, usually on Saturday mornings during the school year. And just a variety of after-school programs that happen at Bay, and also working with a variety of partners going on site. So the next phase is Bay High. So that's our focus program in partnership with Lincoln Public Schools. We have juniors and seniors. The curriculum is business, marketing, management, and infotech focused. Cool. But the thing that really makes it cool is that our staff actually works with the students to do clubs. So they get to dive deeper into those things like skating and fashion and music performance and production, get to put on like their own shows, and they get to build skate obstacles and just do a lot of really like hands-on things and get a lot of cool experiences that they wouldn't get anywhere else. They also get a lot of hands-on attention from local businesses too. So Arch Rival does mentoring for our Bay High students. They get to do projects like this year with Union Bank. They've done projects with Brenza, where the content they're producing actually gets used, which is super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you get like that real life experience. You also get something cool to put on your resume while you're still in high school, which is amazing.
Yeah. Well, and like, to be acknowledged for the talent that you have at such a young age is probably really exciting for those students.
Absolutely. And it's, one of the things I think students don't necessarily recognize, but I think as you grow your career and you've, looking into opportunities in the workforce, you understand how important those connections are, where you've worked with someone and they know that you're talented and that they can vouch for you and, bring opportunities to you because they know you and they know what you're good at. So it definitely creates a huge opportunity that you don't necessarily get anywhere else. And then finally, our last program bucket is Gap Year. So this is our post-high school program. It is designed for 18 to 24-year-olds, ultimately to either go to college, get a job, or start a business. Those are like the three big outcomes that we're looking for our students that go through this program. And they can do that in a variety of pathways. Our main pathways right now are entrepreneurship, music, fashion, graphic design, and photo video. We also are working with a variety of partners in the community here. So for example, Spreetail has a reverse logistics pathway that we're working with them. Cool. We're also recently partnered with the Lincoln Manufacturing Council so that we can bring more youth into manufacturing and show them what's available. So the program itself is just really a career and skill accelerator is what we like to call it. So that students can come in, they can figure out what they want to do, they can work towards one of those big outcomes, pick a path, and we give them all the knowledge, skills, and the relationships that they need to get there.
That's awesome. What age ranges are participating in Gap Year?
Primarily 18 to 24 post-high school students.
Oh man, that's really cool. I went into college, had no real idea of what I wanted to do, and that would have been such a neat way to kind of figure out what else exists in Lincoln, because at that point I only knew about nursing and natural resources. So thanks, parents.
Yeah, right. It's definitely something I think we hear a lot is, oh, I wish I would have done that, or I wish that would have been around for me. And I know for myself, I definitely could have used that to figure out what is there. Because otherwise you're kind of making these big decisions just based on what your parents do, or maybe what your friends' parents do, or somebody in your family, but it's got to be somebody in your orbit, or you're not really aware of what the opportunity is. So that's actually the very first thing we do in the Gap Year program, which runs 8 months. So the first portion of it is all career exploration, where we go places, do hands-on things, give these students exposure to things that they maybe didn't know existed. For example, you can actually be a creative and work at a bank, which you don't automatically think of as a thing, but there's lots of opportunities there, and we want to show them everything that's out there.
That's really cool. What's been a highlight for you because you've been doing this is this the second cohort?
This is the second cohort. We ran a pilot. We're wrapping up our beta cohort and getting ready to actually currently recruiting for our next cohort that's going to start in October.
And how many people are in each cohort?
About 30 to 35.
Oh, wow. So this is like very popular.
Yeah, we definitely are seeing, I think, and I mean, this is something that Nicole can obviously speak to and talking about what brought her to Gap Year. But I think from my perspective, what I see from the students that have applied they are looking for something other than college. I think we're seeing Gen Z doesn't necessarily think college is as important or necessary as previous generations. And then there's also the fact that, if you look at some of the data from Lincoln Public Schools, I think it's about 30% of graduating seniors don't even actually qualify to go to the university here for, having the right amount of hours in certain things or just kind of meeting those basic requirements. And so this gives them a way to, still do something structured where they're learning a lot and getting those connections and really can accelerate them to where they want to be. And I think they can see that. From the parent perspective, we've also actually had a lot of parents express interest in wanting their children to do something like this instead of just diving into college, because it is a big commitment. It's expensive. You're having to make a decision kind of out of the gate of what you want to do without really knowing necessarily what it is. Yeah. So it gives you the opportunity to see it in action, I guess, before. I mean, if you do a gap year and you decide, the thing I want to do does require this 2 or 4 year degree, there's actually a lot of resources through gap year that can help you do that. Okay. So our partnership with the American Job Center allows us to provide paid internships as a part of the program. And then for students that are seeking to go to college afterwards, there's a certain amount of resources and funding that they can get through the Job Center to help with college too.
Have you had many I know this is the second cohort. Have you had, or what are you seeing students do when they finish?
Yeah. So right now for our second cohort, everybody is still kind of doing their paid internships, but I think we're seeing probably, we've got a handful that are going to be going to college and that are kind of utilizing those resources and taking that next step. We've got a few that are wanting to come back and do another gap year.
I love that.
And so there's an opportunity to explore another pathway or dive even deeper into the pathway that they were in originally. And we are working on creating more of a apprenticeship type program for the second year of students that want to dive deeper into the pathway that they were already in. And then we've got several people that have started their own business.
That's so great.
And a few people that are also just entering the workforce and getting started on their careers.
Wow. That's really incredible. It sounds like everybody is feeling confident in the skills that they've gained and kind of maybe what to do next, which is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the structure of the program helps them figure that out. So like I mentioned, the first phase is that exploration phase. Then they do a course called Design Your Life, where they use design thinking principles to come up with what they're going to do through the program, and also really like the next 3 years or so, like kind of where they see themselves and then the steps that they need to get there. And then they go into those learning modules. So for example, Nicole did photo video. So she worked with our team for probably about 8 weeks on some of like the technical skills and the things that you need. And then jumped into a capstone project from there. So just taking all the skills that they learned, putting it into a project to showcase for everybody, and then kind of roll into the paid internship.
That's awesome. I'm really glad that they have that opportunity.
Yeah, it's been, I think, well, I mean, I guess I'm not a student in there, but from my perspective, again, it's just really giving these students the things that they need to enter the workforce successfully. Because the other component of this is what we call our future ready track. And it's a lot of those soft skills and the things that they need to successfully run their business or to get a job. You know, we've helped some people get driver's licenses, help people get a bank account, help them think about a personal board of directors. Is actually something they do during Design Your Life, where you're having to call and talk to people that are doing the thing that you want to do. And just different networking things and a lot of the things that I think about over the course, maybe the first 5 years of your career, you kind of learn and figure out and do, and we try to push it all into our 8-month skill and career accelerator program.
Well, I think that's great. There's a lot of skills that even I wish I would have had a little bit more mentoring and coaching on in my early 20s and coming out of high school.
Absolutely.
What a funky time. No one really prepares you.
It's a learning curve for sure,
It
for
is.
sure. And I think the other thing that's interesting about that is over and over what I feel like we've been hearing from employers too, is that those are the skills that seem to be missing.
Yes.
A lot of the other things can be taught, you know, the technical skills and the way they want things done, but the kind of communication and responsibility and all of those things are what they really need to be equipped with.
Yeah, absolutely. We partner with TCA to do very similar stuff, the Career Academy in the spring, and it really is so helpful.
It's huge.
Just to, even if they've heard it 1,000 times, it never hurts to talk about it one more time.
No, it doesn't. I mean, what do they say? You have to hear something 7 times, like if you're being advertised to.
Yes.
So maybe it's the same.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure people have told me things twice and I've completely forgot. So maybe everyone should start doing it 7.
Right. Multiple times.
Well, I'm glad we've gotten to hear a little bit more about the ins and outs of the program, but I would really love to hear about the experience that Nicole's had. So I guess I'm gonna start asking you some questions. But Nicole, why did you choose to do gap year, and what's your pathway?
So I'm a high school dropout and a college dropout. So when I applied for gap year, it was more so just like a why not kind of thing. But once we actually got involved with it and we're starting and everything, I kind of realized that like there were a lot of things that I can learn how to do. There's not like, I mean, I can learn to do pretty much anything and do anything I want to do. And it just made me realize how much potential there is for my future still. And yeah.
What is one part of the program that you have really felt strengthened skills, whether that's kind of those, I don't like calling them soft skills because I think they're just like necessary skills, but I can never remember what other people call them. But yeah.
Well, I would say during the capstone phase, we did all of our own projects. And so, I mean, I made my own magazine for it. So I had to do a photo shoot and get a model and set up all the equipment. And it was a huge, long process. And so I really got to take on that responsibility and just use those skills that we've been learning over the past 8 months. And I mean, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. You are currently doing a really cool internship. And I know you've done a really also just creative apprenticeship program. Do you want to talk about both of those work experiences and kind of how they've helped shape where you're hoping to go?
So initially I had done an apprenticeship at Firespring in the print production side of it. And I mean, it was a good experience to learn that. And I really learned skills about like how to communicate and how to have professional relationships and maybe even network a little bit better. But I mean, it did show me also that I don't really want to work in a production side of things, and you know, that's fine too. And so then I am now doing a graphic design internship with Peanuts.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, yeah, it's really awesome. I am loving it. I love the experience. It's really an awesome opportunity.
What are you doing for them?
Well, I just started, so I don't have like a ton of stuff yet that I'm working on, but I'm currently working on designing a couple, just kind of whatever I want within the Peanuts realm and I'm supposed to work on it over the next 2 months and kind of show them at the end, like, this is what I did and this is what I can do. And yeah, so
that's really
kind of
incredible.
where I'm at right now.
Are you designing characters? Are you designing like the comic strips or?
No, all of that stuff that was all drawn by Schultz, the original artist, and we're not allowed to mess with any of that stuff really. So we just use the drawings that he did and design it in a way that is relevant with whatever it's being used for. Oh,
that's cool. What is something that you're hoping to gain during this 2 months with Peanuts?
Skills. I'm an artist. I've been doing art for many years, but doing it in a context of for another company and for something specific like this is, I mean, it's a different realm of art, and so it's like just learning those skills of like, oh, this is how you do this and this is how you do that, you know, that kind of thing.
What would you say to encourage someone who's maybe considering gap year or not sure what they're kind of doing with their, I guess, early 20s and teen years?
Do gap year.
Do gap year.
Honestly, gap year really like changed my life. I mean, before I started, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I couldn't hold a job and was just bouncing around between different jobs, and you know, I didn't feel fulfilled in my life at all, and I felt stuck. And then we did gap year and I went through the whole 8-month program, and I feel like now I have a lot better idea of where I want my life to go, and I feel much more confident in my skills and my abilities. And I mean, not only that, but like there's some amazing people who are at the Bay who are really supportive and help you with whatever you need help with, and those connections really help a lot with just life in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's been, and Christina, I know, would say this for herself, but connections and meeting people has been so pivotal in my career. Yeah, I know in yours. And so thankfully, yes, we have really great professionals in this community that really want to help young folks make those connections.
I will say with gap year, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you put in all your effort, all your energy, you're going to have a great time. And if you kind of do bare minimum, you might not get the same kind of results out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like it would be pretty accurate.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity that's put in front of you. You've got to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I'll kind of open this back up to both of you. What, for those wanting to get involved in gap year, whether that's a employer or an individual, what are kind of the first steps? Or
so for an individual, we are taking applications right now. They're open. You can go to thebay.org and fill out the form there. Applications are open until we fill the cohorts. So better to get them in sooner rather than later. The program will start the beginning of October. So get the applications in if you're an 18 to 24-year-old trying to figure things out, or even if you know what you want to do and you know that we can help you get those skills and make those connections. From an employer standpoint, if there are pathways or places where people can kind of find their home and their place within your company, definitely would love to talk about that too, of how we can create a pathway that some of these students can come in and start their careers with you.
Awesome. What's next for Gap Year other than further cohorts?
So I think that is one of the big things, is kind of expanding those pathways. As I mentioned, we recently were able to partner with the Lincoln Manufacturing Council to have not only the creative side, but also the trades and manufacturing as an option and an opportunity. I think our target audience of students, the creative side is really like what they want to do. And it is a huge draw. But I also think that once students come in, if they're shown like the kind of career they can have and what opportunities are out there, there's always room to do both. And we've certainly had some people come in wanting to do music, and then actually one of our students is wanting to go become an airplane mechanic. So
that's
there's
so cool.
Right. There's definitely, I think, room to show them a lot of things, and we want to continue to expand those pathways. We'd also love to, we're definitely bursting at the seams over at the Bay. We've got our Bay High Focus program. We've got summer camps. We've got Gap Year. So we are, hoping we can find a home where we can get even some of the additional equipment that we might need to help the students get that hands-on experience and learning to do some of these pathways and expand their skills. So those are probably the two biggest things on the horizon, and just continuing to grow the cohort size also. I think we're seeing a really big need for it from just the number of inquiries we get and applications, and we want to be able to be able to serve all the youth that we can. So
yeah, well, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities, whether you're interested in being a part of the program or you just want to support the program, ways to get involved.
Absolutely.
And help drive that future workforce.
Absolutely. Another one that I should have mentioned is internships. Obviously, if there's an opportunity for someone to come expand their skills and get some more experience at your company, we would love to hear from you too.
Yeah, well, we love internships, any sort of work experience. It clearly has defined what you're interested in. I've definitely had those work experiences where I'm like, there is no way I'm doing that for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm glad that Gap Year is a space to do that sort of
absolutely. And I think in addition to the internships, the entire program really is too, if you figured out like, actually, maybe I don't want to do this pathway, that's also a success for sure.
Absolutely. We love career exploration, life exploration, really.
Yeah. And it's a very safe space to do it.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sure you've been a great mentor as well as the rest of the staff over there. So,
well, and it's also one of those places where, because of that partnership with the American Job Center, there's so many resources available to these students that I feel like it's even more so, because there's like all of the resources they can offer with support services and the paid internship. There's really nothing to lose in trying. Yeah,
they do have a lot of great programs. And so that partnership, I'm sure, has been a game changer.
It's been fantastic. Yeah.
Great. Well, that's the end of our time today. I appreciate both of you coming and sharing more about Gap Year and just your experiences that you've had as a young person navigating this new chapter of your life. I'm excited to see what else you get to accomplish, but I'm also excited to see what happens with Gap Year over the next few years.
Yes, we'd love to come on and give you an update.
Oh, please. We'll have to do that.
Post next cohort, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again so much for being here, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks for having us.